All right. Good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. I'm your host, Brandon Choi, co-creator of Movies and Shakers Unlimited, and welcome to this edition of This Week in Pop Culture, the show in which we give you the goings on in the world of pop culture in the past week. Whether we're talking about local news, tech news, sports, film and TV, and the like. We try to bring you up to speed so that way you are not left in the wind. And of course, I'm not going to be alone in talking about these said topics. So without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Spillman Trueheart, aka Spills. What's going on, sir?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? The GOAT, most All NBA selections of all times, ladies and gentlemen.
So I appreciate Mr. Spills diving into some accolades there. We are going to talk about an accolade that was given to an NBA player this week, an MVP, no less, that was given this past week, and I feel well deserved. But as you can see in the title and as you can see in the background, we are going to be talking about a little video game film adaptation that made some casting news, and we're going to try to theorize some characters from that said game that those said announced cast members will be playing. But before we get into that, there were a couple other things that we will discuss. We did have some trailers that dropped this past week, as well as an unfortunate passing, along, of course, with the sports that we just mentioned. So without further ado, Spills, shall we dive in?
Let's get it.
All right, excellent. So we're going to start first. I'm going to bring this up for you guys, talking about a couple of trailers, as I mentioned, that dropped this past week, and that was, of course, with Jurassic World Rebirth and Welcome to Derry, both of which dropped online this past Tuesday. But we're going to start first with Rebirth. And talking about Rebirth, this is the latest installment, of course, in the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World franchise, taking place 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion. In the time since, the planet's ecology has proven largely inhospitable to dinosaurs. As a result, those remaining dinosaurs exist in isolated equatorial environments with climates resembling the one in which they once thrived. The three most colossal creatures across land, sea, and air within that tropical biosphere hold in their DNA the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to humankind. Starring Scarlett Johansson, Emmy and SAG nominee Jonathan Bailey, and two-time Oscar winner Mahershala Ali, the action-packed sequel arrives in theaters on July 2nd. Spillman, are you excited for more Dino mayhem?
Actually, I was very interested about his latest trailer. For one, when I thought of the Jurassic Park world, I always thought it was in the Pacific. But if they in the movie, in the trailer, Marshall Ali was like, "We just got to go past Barbados," and that's in the Atlantic. Who knew? I think also it was very interesting what they did with some of the cameos. Obviously, it's a star-studded cast, so that's going to be very interesting. And obviously, we've been talking about these movies. Like, how can they bring it back to something new? They're saying that these are the scariest animals, the most dangerous, quote unquote.
Sure.
I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like it's dangerous to make a 100-foot animal that doesn't really exist in this ecosystem. So, like,
Right.
levels of danger. That's kind of like, this is the most dangerous gun you can find. It's like, hey, this, you get shot in the head, you get shot in the head. Unfortunately, not to hate our algorithm, but these are dangerous things. Danger is danger is danger. I feel like this is danger A instead of danger C. Sure, sure.
I hear you.
I like some of the effects. The effects look good. Some of the paleontology look good. I feel like that was okay. How about you? How did you feel about this trailer?
Okay, so brace yourselves. I have a small little rant, and this is brace yourself. So I'm just gonna say, should we really be saying Jurassic World Rebirth or Jurassic World Burnout? And I would say this again because I've mentioned this on the show before. How many more times do we have to learn from nature not to bother dinosaurs? How many times do we as human beings have to bother dinosaurs that are not messing with us? So let's just rewind the clock on this franchise, shall we? In Lost World, we went to the dinosaurs and we brought dinosaurs back with us. In Jurassic Park 3, we went to the dinosaurs. In Fallen Kingdom, we went to the dinosaurs and brought them back with us. I can at least, in the first and fourth films, I can at least appreciate the fact that you have a couple of concepts that you are tackling, right? The idea of science and engineering these creatures and playing God, so to speak, and also the idea of capitalist greed, right? Of being able to create these theme parks where you have these dinosaurs in order to make profit. I get all of that, and those are interesting concepts. I could even appreciate Dominion that gives us or opens with that idea of human beings and dinosaurs coexisting, right? However, in this new film, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Spills. It looks like we have dinosaurs that are minding their business, living their own life, and we're trying to bother the dinosaurs. And I get this, I get the idea of having the what the having the MacGuffin of having dinosaur DNA that we're trying to do to create these miraculous drugs for pharmaceutical purposes, right? But I feel like if we do not in this upcoming film truly explore the idea of that concept, I feel like it's a waste of time. Because like in Dominion, the last film that we had, there was, and we discussed this too, but I'll just remix it really quick, is we had a terrific concept of human beings and dinosaurs coexisting. You could have easily segued that into a dystopian world in which you have dinosaurs and human beings coexisting. We have a whole book on it. In fact, it's called Dinotopia. I mean, it's not. I'm a little wonky with like the setting of it, but you could have at least pulled some ideas from that of having this dystopian world. Like when we're talking about dystopian worlds, we have it across other types of media and people enjoy it. So why not do a dystopian film and truly have Jurassic World, right? Of having human beings and dinosaurs coexisting. Now, on to the rebirth of it, of really exploring the concept of using pharmaceutical drugs with this dinosaur DNA. For those of you who have been keeping track of the what is it, the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World journey and its development in each of these films, before we got Jurassic World, there was talk, and you guys, I'm not making this up. You guys can find this online because this concept art out there of them exploring the idea of dinosaur human hybrids. So, what if, and I hopefully they'll really explore this with using a pharmaceutical component. What if, yeah, we're able to get the DNA right, and we create all these drugs that are very beneficial for mankind, but we come across mutations, we come across side effects, as you would with any drug, where now you have folks that are becoming human dinosaur hybrids. Like they scrapped it and didn't, would eventually end up doing Jurassic World, but I feel like we can actually revisit it now based on this whole MacGuffin that you're having with the dinosaur DNA and trying to create these, pharmaceutical drugs, of actually exploring that. Because I think that it's a good idea. If you're not going to go the dystopian, then let's try to approach, doing the dino, human hybrid thing. Because here we are, what? This is film number 7, because we had 3 of Jurassic World, or Jurassic Park, 3 of Jurassic World, and now we have this film. Films that are passing the trilogy stage, you have to find a way to be able to revitalize it and cause it to evolve. Like it or hate it, Fast and Furious figured out the idea of going beyond racing and getting more into spy and espionage and heist films, and it's allowed it to stretch far beyond what I feel a lot of people would have expected the franchise to be able to get to. We're on what, 10? And if someone told me, looking at the first Fast and Furious years ago, that we would have 10 of these, I would not have believed it. So hopefully they really take advantage of that quote unquote MacGuffin of trying to get the DNA and actually explore it to its to an interesting conclusion versus just having it there just for the sake of having us bother dinosaurs again for another installment, because it's not going to survive. Pun intended. The franchise is not going to survive if we keep just rehashing that whole idea of just constantly having us bother dinosaurs that are not messing with us. What are your thoughts?
I feel like, the dinosaurs aren't messing with us, but they got, like I said before, they got new 3-year-olds coming out every year, new 4-year-olds. They got to sell them toys, man. Because it's like there's tiers of dinosaur. Like I be buying the toys, ladies and gentlemen. There's tiers of dinosaur
That's fair.
toys. You get your big plastic jar of dinosaur toys that do not move, but they're dinosaur toys. Those are like $12, $15. Those are the ones that you get. You like here, or someone gives them to you. They give you a thing of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But if you want to spend $60 on a dinosaur toy, that's what Jurassic Park is in. They got to keep making the movies to keep them in stores to have commercial tie-ins and stuff. That's just in the words of the Schwartz. That's just merchandising of
Then
yogurt. That's
involve
just
it.
merchandising.
Then don't complain when it's not making as much money as you hope it will, when you have it right in front of you how you can progress the film and you never truly explore it. Like, what was the point, like I said, of having Dominion and having Fallen Kingdom before that, if you weren't truly going to explore the idea of human beings and dinosaurs coexisting? Because based off of what you had with this current film of saying, okay, they weren't able to survive the climate. Okay, I was like, so what's the point of those films? Because the whole big deal was the idea of dinosaurs existing in our everyday lives. So yeah, I don't know, but I do plan on checking it out. I am, interested to see what they do with it. As I said, I hope they truly explore that idea of creating pharmaceutical drugs and the repercussions of taking that step. Because as we know, when it comes to medicine, just as anyone knows out there, when you're watching those commercials and they talk about all these different medicines that can treat different things, they always have that one portion of the commercials, right, where it's like, may cause blindness, may cause diarrhea, may cause all these, and they try to speed through it real quick. So hopefully they truly explore that idea of the pharmaceutical drug. Hopefully we will see. But that was, as I said, not the only trailer that was released this past week. The other one that we had, of course, was Welcome to Derry, which, of course, is a prequel to the It films that have been in theaters. It acts as it's going to act as a prequel series, as I said, to the It horror film franchise, which is set to go back in time and trace Pennywise's origins in Derry prior to the events of the first film, who you see here in the picture. Developed for television by filmmakers Andy Muschietti and Barbara Muschietti, who of course worked on It Chapter 2, as well as The Flash, and Jason Fuchs, who worked on It Chapter 2, Wonder Woman, and Argyle. The drama series will debut on HBO and will be available to stream on HBO Max this fall. Spills, are you excited to go back to Derry?
I'm excited to go back to Derry. Obviously, I am not the biggest fan of prequels and threequels and all kinds of quels. I don't like
Sure,
those.
sure.
Um, but I feel like personally, I felt like the second It movie was enough, but I don't feel like they've really dug deep into the It franchise to see
The
what
lore,
what
yeah,
is what is underneath those rocks that you need to pick up to figure out what it is. I mean,
yeah.
obviously in the newest movies with Sarsgaard, they had flashback sequences, and that's interesting to look into. But I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's interesting. Um, I wonder, is it going to be a different It, or is Sarsgaard going to reprise his role?
Skarsgård is returning as
Oh wow.
Pennywise.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. See,
yeah.
he's not getting that Oscar buzz like he needed to, so he's going to keep doing these in TV. And I know that's kind of rude of me, ladies and gentlemen, but
Well, I'll
yeah.
say this. I believe that I'll be honest, because initially he wasn't actually attached to do the film, but I feel, or say the series, but I feel that he similarly, I don't think it's for the reason that you gave, but it is for the reason of being able to, get paid and to continue to keep his name out there, because there his last couple of films have not done so hot. So I feel like because of that, I feel like he had decided to, continue on with something that has given him a lot of traction, which would make sense. Like if it's something that that audiences respond to, while initially you might have cold feet about it because you don't want to be typecast into doing just that one role, and I get that. I think also as a business decision of films that some of the films that he's had that haven't done too great, that he decided to re-explore this character and his origins. Now, in saying that, I am excited, to check out this series, and the reason being is that a lot of times when we're talking about what is it, prequels or sequels, and we're talking about that type of deal when it deals with franchises in general. A lot of times, you have new parties come in to the existing franchise, whether it's behind the camera or in front of the camera, and because they want to kind of, foot their own stamp, or make their mark, a lot of times they pull away from the very things that people respond to in that franchise, and sometimes they may change the lore, or they may change the what is it, the kind of the genre or the feel of the project. And that's not the case here. While yes, you do have different cast members that are a part of this because it does take place before the first film, at least with the main character, as you we just discussed with Pennywise, he is returning, so you still have that through line there. And then even behind the camera with Muschietti, that you have him, working behind the scenes with this series. So there is some connectivity, some connective tissue there with this series and the film. As a matter of fact, from what I understand, he's also directing a couple of the episodes that are in this season. So definitely looking forward to what it has in store. But what about you guys out there? Are you guys interested in not only Jurassic World Rebirth or Welcome to Derry? And do you agree with my little little rant there? My issues with Jurassic Park / Jurassic World. You can let us know in the comments. But we're going to move on to unfortunately, some somber news of a passing that we did have this week. And that was, of course, with George Wendt, who passed away this past Tuesday. Let me bring it up now. who many folks, of course, remember from Cheers, starring as Norma Peterson in all 275 episodes of the series and earning 6 consecutive nominations for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series in that span. And this is via TMZ. He also, of course, starred in films such as Airplane 2, the sequel, No Small Affair, Fletch, Little Rascals, Spice World, Outside Providence, Alice in Wonderland, Santa Buddies, and Sandy Wexler.
Oh,
Currently,
don't forget the black and white music video.
yes, yes, yes. But yes, going back to Went. Right now, a cause of death is unclear. He passed away at the age of 76. Spillman, what would you say is your favorite George Wendt project?
Obviously, most of his work was for adult shows and stuff in the early 90s and late 80s. So I don't remember most of it. Obviously, he's a big Cheers guy. I remember him from Cheers. He had a very friendly face in the Cheers show. And obviously, like I said before, the appearance of personally because of like where I was in my life in 1992, 1991. The black
Sure,
and white video with him doing the intro and then ended up in his chair and he gets like rocketed into space and then lands in like West Africa or Kenya or somewhere where people are dancing around him. Hilarious. That's what I think my best memory of him is. Was that music video, but obviously that's because I was a little kid when he was at his biggest. I do remember him on Cheers and the adults in the late 80s, early 90s going crazy over that show.
for sure,
Um,
for sure.
one of the bigger stars, but obviously he wasn't the star of Cheers, you would say, but I feel like he was the heart of Cheers. How do you feel about him?
Oh no, no doubt. It's funny you bring up just the idea of where you were, in that timeline of the show, because I too was quite young at around that time of his heyday. But of course, he's been in other things. So when he, popped up in a lot of films, it was also always great to have him pop up in things because whenever he popped up in stuff, he was always terrific. But I will, as young as I was when Cheers was out, I will most remember him for that show because even as I got older, that show remained in syndication. So, I still had gone back and seen a lot of those episodes. And, man, what an ensemble that you had with that show. And he was, a pivotal part of that ensemble, incredible ensemble that you had with that show. And many of those folks, of course, went on to do awesome things with their careers. So yeah, it's unfortunate to have him pass away, but man, what a legacy in terms of what he has done, not only on the big screen, but just as we said just now with Cheers on the small screen as well. So again, rest in peace to George Wendt. But what about you guys out there? What is your favorite, George Wendt project? Am I right to assume for many of you that is Cheers, or is it something else that he has done? You can let us know just down below in the comments. So that is going to do it for what we have with Legacies Remembered, and as I said, the unfortunate passing of George Wendt, who passed away at 76. We're going to switch gears to our next segment. I know we teased it at the top of talking a little sports, as we did have an MVP that has been chosen as of this week, as well as some continued progression in the NBA playoffs as the conference finals continue to roar on. Let me bring that up for you guys now. One moment. So this past Wednesday, it was made official per ESPN's Sham Charania that Shea Gilgis Alexander, aka SGA, was named the 2024-2025 NBA MVP. The OKC Thunder guard led the NBA with 32.7 points per game, the most points per game in a season in franchise's history, which is key that I bring that up because we did have some terrific OKC players, which I will touch on a little later, that have played for that franchise and helped to lead his team to 68 wins in the regular season. Currently, as it stands, he has helped his team secure a commanding 2-1 series lead against the Timberwolves. Spills, your thoughts on Shea getting the nod?
I think that Shea definitely earned it this year. I know that people were talking about Jokic having such a good year, but they didn't win as much. I think statistically he might have looked better, but putting up numbers and losing more games is not better in my opinion. I would rather have the guy who's got similar numbers but a better record. I think that MVP is supposed to be winning games. They're not supposed to be losing games. As it stands right now, it looks like the Thunder might could win the championship. So I think that the Thunder and Shea getting this MVP is crazy. It's kind of a sign of the nepotism of the NBA that all the good players come from somebody's kid. If you just look to my right over here, it's like three people who have NBA dads.
Yeah.
Um, Everyone's not going to get that joke, but I'm saying that Anthony Edwards' daddy is Michael Jordan. So I'm going to just say it plainly. That's Michael Jordan's son, ladies and gentlemen.
uh, allegedly, allegedly.
They look the same. That's that boy daddy.
but but all jokes aside, congratulations to SGA. I feel like it's a no brainer, right? Of having the best player on the best team win the MVP award. Um, I'm not gonna lie though, I feel like it was a neck and neck race, and the reason why he ended up eventually getting the nod is because he eliminated his competition for that award. Because I feel like if the Nuggets were able to close out Game Seven, I feel like we wouldn't be having this conversation, and that Jokic would be getting the MVP award because he's been having an incredible season statistically in terms of the number of triple doubles and the fact that he is so key to how that team goes and all the facets in which he affects the game. Is pretty mind-boggling. Whether we're talking about providing assists, scoring, rebounds, all of that, it's incredible the clip at which he's able to accomplish that game after game. And because I feel that it was a neck and neck race, because I feel like they eventually decided to give him the nod by proving that he and his team were able to get past them. Because you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Spills, but a lot of times by this, even before this point, an MVP is already chosen.
Oh
So
yeah,
when we're
usually, but I
talking
think
about,
they were waiting to see who won. I said
yeah,
last week
yeah,
when Shea wrapped it up in Game Seven, they was like, okay, it's going to be Shea. I
yeah,
feel like they didn't want to have an MVP that didn't make it out the second round. I think that they're very cognizant of that.
yeah,
But yeah,
for
I think
sure.
that definitely him making it. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, him making it out of the second round and they won 68 games this year. That's like top five in history. I don't see how you could win 68 games and they don't say, hey, this is the MVP of the league.
Yeah, yeah, but staying on that subject of the Thunder and the Timberwolves, based on, as I mentioned, is a 2-1 lead. Before that, it was a 2-0 lead, but the Timberwolves responded. Was it just yesterday of having a blowout win against the Thunder? Like, I want to say it was by like 40 points, if memory serves. So, does that change your perception of the way you anticipate the series going, or do you still feel the same way that we're going to get a series, but they are going to make it out? The
No,
Thunder
I think
do.
it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. I think that the Timberwolves just, they still have the same problems that they did the first two games. Like Ant be going 5-on-1, 4-on-1, 3-on-1. He'll be passing his teammates. I saw a clip last night. Um, Ant was triple teamed and he had four teammates open and he still shot the ball and they was up 40. It's like They're not gonna play for you, Ant.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah.
Maybe Julius Randle could redeem himself, and if we get another game where they win, if they tie it up, maybe I could see them just going seven. But I don't see him tying it
Uh-huh.
up. I think that was just that game three. That was a rest game because they probably should have won game two, but they didn't win game two. So I don't think that they have it to get up for game four again like that because they beat them by 40. It was, it was basically over before we knew it. So I think it'll be pretty fairly done quickly.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I still feel the same way. I don't think that it's going to be a gentleman's sweep, mind you. I still feel like the Timberwolves will at least get two games out of this series. I do still have the Thunder getting out of it, but I just feel like you can't factor out Anthony Edwards and the X factor that he is when it comes to the Timberwolves. Regardless of the fact that he doesn't have a cat playing with him anymore. I still feel like he's enough of a force that he's going to at least give you a couple of games in the series, even if they don't win the series. Like he's enough of a force that he's capable of doing that single handedly on his own. So I do still feel like we have a series here. I do feel like he's going to still at least steal one game just out of pride of the pride that he has in playing, but I still have the Thunder. They just had too many. They have too many weapons. They're just too deep. I can't see them losing to the Timberwolves at this point. So, but switching gears over to the uh, the Eastern Conference Finals that we have with the Indiana Pacers. Man, those Indiana Pacers are really shocking people. Like, are you surprised with what we're seeing out of the Indiana Pacers against the Knicks?
No, actually, I kind of saw that that the Knicks might have trouble. I thought that really what it is the Halliburton matchup. I feel like Halliburton and Brunson. Like Brunson is a bruiser and stuff, and those guys are good a lot of times, but they don't do too good around the lanky guys. Like he's not that much stronger than Halliburton, so it's a push on their strength. But Halliburton's like 3, 4 inches taller than him. I saw someone on the internet that said that boy might be 6 feet tall. So
Mhm.
because Halliburton's so much bigger than him and can kind of just score at will or he can distribute at will, I feel like this is a done deal. I feel like the Pacers they might even sweep. I think that they probably get a gentleman sweep, but I think that they may sweep.
Okay, all right. So I'll say this, Spills. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very surprised by what I'm seeing by the Pacers, and I know a lot of folks will say you shouldn't be based on the momentum that the Pacers have been having towards the second half of the season in terms of their record, but I just feel like this is just an example of a team having just a Cinderella year where they're just having an incredible postseason where everything's firing on all cylinders. Because on paper, I still feel like the Knicks should be the superior team here. I don't feel Cat Cat, and when we're talking about Cat, that is a major mismatch when we're talking about him playing against the Pacers, and I don't feel like that is being taken advantage of enough. And then I'll also say this: we were just talking about the Western Conference Finals, right? Of how we just had a blowout in Game Three, but when we're talking about this series, none of them have been blowout games. They have been close games, and if we're really being, if we're really being honest here, in talking about those, what is it, the closing of a lot of these games, we would be having a different conversation if we had a player not get the shooter's touch on one of his baskets. We would be having a split series and having a different conversation versus talking about a 2-0 lead in the series. So I still feel like the Knicks is going to be tough, um, because the momentum is in the Pacers' going the Pacers' way, but I still feel like the Knicks can pull it out and actually close out this series. But I do feel even if they pull it out of the series, I feel like we're starting to get a sense of that of that what is it of that fatigue of that style of play of playing only a very limited group of players. So I feel like we're seeing teases of it now, and it's going to factor in. Even if they get past the Pacers in the conference finals, it's definitely going to factor in when they have to play against a Thunder's team that plays very deep in terms of their lineup. So I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
Um, I think the Thunder team is very deep, but I don't know. Just with the 3-point shooting and the pace that the Pacers play with, I think this may be the first time that they win an NBA championship this year. I know the Thunder are a great team, but I feel like Shea to Halliburton, that's a bit of a push. I know that Shea is obviously much better than him, but it's a push. I think that the rest of the team around them is all a push. I think that, having all of the Lou Dorts and stuff, they have a great defense in the Thunder. But I just don't feel like they're not going like, Neesmith and all them boys, you can't guard everybody. It's only so many men that you can guard. And they got a lot of guys, TJ Connell, they're going to be open. And I feel like these boys are tough. They got a lot of experience. Siakam's got a lot of experience. TJ McConnell's been on playoff teams his whole career, basically. They got a lot of glue guys and a lot of guys that do the things they're supposed to. So
For sure.
it's kind of crazy that both the teams that traded Paul George recently
Right.
have ended
Right.
up in the finals conversation,
Right.
and they basically
Exactly.
are the teams that they traded for Paul George. So
Hmm.
pretty
Hmm.
interesting. Pretty interesting.
Very, very interesting indeed. But what about you guys out there? How do you feel about the conference finals matchups that we have right now, and how they may turn out? Whether we're talking about the Western Conference Finals with the T Wolves and the Thunder, or the Eastern Conference Finals with the Knicks and the Pacers, let us know in the comments because we love to hear your thoughts and your takes on those said things. But that will conclude what we have with our sports cooler talk. And now we are going to talk about our main topic, of course, which is none other than the Street Fighter movie that is on the way and had some casting news that was announced. And this was via Deadline this past Wednesday. It was revealed that Andrew Koji, who folks may know from Bullet Train and Warrior, Jason Momoa, of course, from the Minecraft movie and many other films, but Minecraft movie most recently, Noah Centineo, who was in Warfare, as well as Black Adam recently, and well, I guess it was a little while ago at this point, and Roman Reigns, who is folks know most recently from Fast and Furious Presents Hobb and Shaw, and the wrestler Roman Reigns are all in talks to star in Legendary's live-action Street Fighter movie based on the iconic Capcom, video game series. According to the article, the plot of the film remains under wraps, along with who each actor would play. However, what is known about the new adaptation is that it will be co-developed and co-produced alongside Capcom, the developer and publisher of the video games. Spills, are you excited for the world of Street Fighter to be brought back to the big screen?
I am. I think the biggest question I have is, can Roman Reigns act? He's in the lineage of the great WWE superstars that have become movie stars of the years, from Jesse Body the Ventura to Hulk Hogan to The Rock to John Cena. He doesn't seem to have the personality of those guys. I don't know his catchphrases or anything, and I'm not a big wrestling fan, but I feel like I know the catchphrases of guys. Like, can't see me if you smell. Uh, you know, I'm a real American. Like, I don't feel like we know that much about Roman Reigns. So I imagine he's going to be Vega, and he's not going to be doing a lot of talking in this movie. He's going to look cool. They're gonna put a mask on him. I don't know who he's gonna play, like you said. I don't see him playing Ken. Um, I don't see him playing Dawson. So I don't know who he's going to play, but I don't see anybody outside of Vega. Um, I'm just interested to see what they do with this. I do think it's interesting having Jason Momoa in this movie because he's been doing great as villains in the last couple of movies I've seen him in that he was a villain in. So him as Bison will I think he can kind of not be Raul Julia because obviously that's my M Bison.
Yeah,
Obviously
of course,
for
yeah, of
you,
course.
what for you it was the worst day of your life. For me, it was
It was
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. He said, I wanted your whole village, but it was just Tuesday to me. So I'm
This
interested to
Tuesday.
see. I'm interested to see if he does that. That'll be
But
very cool.
why?
But
Why do
what?
they call me a warlord in mass? So, oh man, man, man. But yeah, I mean, I'll say this is and then I'll put the pictures back up here. Is as I said, it hasn't been confirmed of who's going to be playing who. A lot of people have speculated. I'll start on the left hand side. So gentleman there in the suit. That's a Noah Centineo, who, as I said, was recently um, the last like superhero related thing that he did was he was Atom Smasher in Black Adam. I could see him playing Ken because if we're talking about someone in terms of the personality of Ken, someone who is kind of sarcastic, is kind of a wild card. I feel like he could pull off that type of character. When we're talking about Andrew Koji, I feel like many of us agree, which is why that you already have the concept art out there of him as Ryu. I feel like he would be a terrific Ryu when we're talking about that film. But when we're getting into some of the other names, when we're getting into Jason Momoa, of course, as you can see here, you have the picture or the concept art here of him playing M. Bison. I feel like that would make sense because you need to have someone. I feel like you need to have someone with the presence and gravitas to be able to play someone iconic like M. Bison.
For
And
sure.
so he would make the most sense of being the big bad, so to speak, as M. Bison. But I'm not gonna lie, there is some other concept art out there, and I don't know if you've seen the spills of him playing another Street Fighter character, of him playing Blanca. I could see that too. But I feel if he's going to pay Blanca,
That's a waste
you
of
want
money. That's a waste of money, ladies and gentlemen. Blanca don't say no words. Maybe Roman Reigns is playing Blanca, but I don't even think he's playing that character.
But I'm saying, like, if you're gonna get, because the concept art of him as Blanca is actually pretty good. Like, I can, it looks pretty good. But if you have him playing that character, who are you then gonna have play M Bison? Because I feel like you're gonna need to have someone even bigger than Jason Momoa to make him playing Blanca make sense. Because you can't have a big star playing Blanca, but then have someone that you never even heard of playing M. Bison.
For
So
sure.
while I feel like he could, you know, equally play either character, my money is on him playing M. Bison. Now, in talking about Roman Reigns, who we have here, I know you said that you can't see him playing Dawson. I actually did the little art there. I know there has been some speculation that he could be playing Akuma. I can't see Akuma because Akuma has to be, a martial artist, and I can't buy him doing flips and kicks and things like that. But I can buy him as Sagat. He could be
Sagat. No, he's not shaving his head, ladies and gentlemen. He's not going to shave his head. I don't see him
Man,
being
he'd do
Sagat
that for
at
the. He'd
all.
do it for the money. He would do
No,
that
he
for the
wouldn't.
money.
No, he wouldn't.
I feel like he
That
would do
boy
that.
is no, sir. That boy is a pretty Samoan. He's not gonna cut his hair. I don't believe that one bit. He's in the Troy Polamalu line. You'd have to
Nah,
pay
so
somebody like him
like I said,
several $1 million to cut his hair.
I buy him playing Sagat, and here's the reason why. I buy him playing Sagat because you need to have someone who has a presence and has a stature to them. And I feel like if you pair him, because remember, you have that whole schism between him and Ryu, you need to have someone who can play off of Andrew and be, because Andrew, don't get me wrong, he's someone who's formidable and can be intimidating, and he's not a big guy, but because of his, his prowess in doing like action projects, he is able to bring that level of energy. But I feel like he it would be an interesting energy and a dynamic of him playing off of Roman Reigns as his Sagat. So and then on top of that too, if we're talking about the character himself of being like a TIE fighter, I feel like you can more believably do that because you're dealing with like grappling and all these different things. I feel like you could more believably do that than having him doing flips and kicks and stuff. So let me see. What's up, Ray?
I feel
You
like
said don't forget about Bautista. Let me see what else
Batista
we
could
got.
definitely play.
There you go. Acknowledge me.
Acknowledge me. That's a terrible catchphrase. That means we don't even recognize you. That's a terrible catchphrase. That's for the girl who you don't really take out on dates and But I feel like Roman Reigns as Akuma is a great pick.
See, he has the look. I know undoubtedly believe he has the look, but I do not buy
His
him
coolest
as someone
moves.
who can,
He
like, you need to yeah, it says there are rumblings of Reigns playing Akuma, but while he has the look of Akuma, I feel like he can't pull off the martial arts that are necessary to
I don't
be
think you
able
played
to
enough Street
believably.
Fighter, sir. I don't feel like you played enough Street Fighter because
Oh no,
all
I
of
have,
Akuma's
I
coolest
have.
moves, the lights turn off and you don't actually see what he do. The lights turn off and you hear,
But
and then
his
he be
moves,
on the
no, 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 no,
ground,
no.
and
No,
then he
his moves.
floats. He don't
Have
even he
you
don't even
played?
walk, man. He don't even walk, ladies and
Have
gentlemen.
you played Street Fighter? Because
I
he's
have played Street
basically,
Fighter,
I'm saying because he's basically not too far off from Ken or Ryu in terms of his move set. He
but
does
his moves are
flips
mostly
and
just
kicks and
fireballs. He
uppercuts.
kind of does the flips and kicks and,
No,
and
no, he
uppercuts.
does it.
He be
He
shooting
does those
fireballs,
same
ladies and
things,
gentlemen. No, he's
and
one of the spammiest
he has
characters
a
of all
connection
time.
and he has a connection to Ryu and Ken based on the type of martial arts that he executes. If anyone should play, and I don't know if anyone has brought this up, if anyone should play Akuma, because I feel like he would be a terrific Akuma, and he has the action ability, the martial arts skills to be able to do that. If anyone knows who Scott Atkins is, Scott Atkins would be a terrific Akuma. If you don't know the name,
I don't know, man. I
Scott
don't know.
Atkins was Boyka in the Undisputed sequels. He's outstanding martial artist. He would be a terrific Akuma. So having
Nah,
him play
I think
against
that
Andrew,
I will
man,
agree with Ray and the rest of the people in the chat room today, ladies and gentlemen. Roman Reigns need to play Akuma. He don't talk. Akuma don't talk. He don't do nothing.
you, that
He
doesn't mean that
glow.
you can get someone else not playing that. So I don't know. Unless they can train Roman up to be able to believably convince me that he can be a martial artist, but based on what I've seen him do, and not just of him being a wrestler, but what he has provided in the Hobbs and Shaw film, you really have to convince me that he can believably be a martial artist. I'm not saying that he can't do action, but he has to be someone who could pull that off. So yeah, I can't buy him as Akuma.
Ladies
That
and
was the
gentlemen,
way
we're
I
gonna
read
have to agree to disagree, but I don't see how he can't be anybody but Akuma. Maybe he could be Vega, and they could put that little
He can't be
mask on his
Vega. Vega is
face.
acrobatic. You can't. You have to find
He's a
somebody.
wrestler. He jumps off the top ropes.
No, you're not understand. When I'm saying acrobatic, I'm saying doing backflips off of fences and doing all this crazy acrobatic stuff. Like
What do the
I'm
people in the WWE do but do acrobatics off of fences and stuff? Ladies and gentlemen, are you being serious? All you gotta do is put that little Wolverine claw on him, and he's Vega. He already a pretty boy. That's what Vega is. But I think he's going to be Akuma because he got cool tattoos and he's real not a big talker. And that's what Akuma is. He don't talk. He got that cool back tattoo, and then he
He
does
has the look
moves.
of a Kuma. I will
The lights turn
undoubtedly
off
agree
like
with
that,
that. But
and then next thing you know, you be beat, and you be like, "Oh, this is a cheesy character. I can't believe
but
this."
I'm saying you could do the same thing with Sagat because Sagat has that
No, Sagat
scowl.
be talking. He be talking, and he has a
Just
patch.
give him an eye patch and be good to
Nah,
go.
but he's not gonna go bald, bro. They're not gonna make Roman Reigns go bald. Roman Reigns is known for having pretty hair. That's not what you don't hire somebody with pretty hair. That's why they got what's his name playing Bison because he got pretty hair. I can see maybe if you could make him Zangief, but that's too comical for him. He's not gonna be Zangief.
He
They're
ain't
gonna
gonna be
find a real
Zangief,
Russian to
man.
be Zangief.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he ain't gonna be Zangief. If anyone's gonna be Zangief, they're gonna get the cat that's supposed to be playing Shao Kahn in the upcoming Mortal Kombat movie. I can't think of his name, but he's been in a lot of like martial arts movies because they like I guess they like showing him against smaller martial artists because he's been in a lot of like Jet Li and related like films and other martial arts films. But yeah, yeah. I mean, as I said, they haven't given us any indication of who they're going to play, but those are our thoughts. Or let me ask you, Spillman, are there some other ones with? Because I wanted to give you an opportunity there with some of the other actors too. Do you agree with what people have been saying about at least Noah and Andrew?
Yeah, I think that these other mock-ups that we have will look about right to me. Um, I do want to see who's going to play Chung Li though. So
I'm sure.
and
Yeah,
Cammy, we hope to see
absolutely,
those for
absolutely.
sure. But I don't know. I just feel like it feels like this is going to be Street Fighter Alpha Adkins. Who's Adkins? Jeffrey Adkins? No, Ja
No,
Rule can't play.
he's still talking about Scott Atkins. So Ray,
No,
you know
I
who I'm
know.
talking
I'm
about.
I'm making a joke. I'm making a
Oh,
joke. That
okay.
was a bad joke,
Got you, got you, got
Brandon.
you.
Um, yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what they do with it. Maybe this is like Street Fighter Alpha for the Street Fighter movie. I feel like, you know, I'm a child of the '90s, so Street Fighter Alpha is the most like bestest one because that's the one that really introduced Akuma to the world. I feel like that's the best one. The art was the best on that iteration. I feel like they were trying to get back to that. Obviously, Street Fighter Tournament Edition is the best one for the arcades, but I feel like Alpha is the one for the animation and
I
like
don't know.
the sprites and the
I like what
growth.
they've done recently with the recent iterations of kind of like doing
The
kind of like
cell
the
shaded
3D, the
stuff.
cells.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
those are
okay.
kind of lit. I'm not gonna lie, they're a little
Those are
lit.
cool, but they're trying to look like the ones in Alpha. So I feel like that's just, what it is. But,
And of course,
obviously
I'm a sucker of the crossovers too. I'm a sucker for the X Men versus Street
X-Men
Fighter, the
versus Street Fighter. And
Marvel
that's
versus
that's
Capcom.
that's
Like,
the alpha stuff. That's all the alpha stuff. So you right there with me. So you definitely agree.
yeah, yeah. But what about you guys out there? Are there some other characters that we did not name? I know Ray, you were just saying that you feel like Atkins can play M Bison. I don't know, man. Like I feel like
They need to
with
put
M Bison,
yeah, you
yeah,
gotta
like
have
I feel
somebody
like
as
with
a
M
character.
Bison, like you don't necessarily need a martial artist. You need someone who is, has an intimidating presence, has some size to them because you don't want M Bison to be short. You want him to be tall. So I don't know. I feel like he would be like Jason Momoa would be a better M Bison. I mean, he's even demonstrated in a recent like Fast and Furious film that
He's a great villain.
he can be a great villain. He can be really over the top, very charismatic, and you want that I feel like out of M Bison. So but yeah, let me see. Ain't jumping around like Vega. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate you,
Hey,
Ray.
if they could make Ben Affleck look like he was actually doing that stuff as Batman, why can't they do it for Roman Reigns? They did it for him, and people were telling me, "Oh, he's the most convincing Batman" because they made a cartoon of Ben
For
Affleck and was
Vega,
jumping
if
around.
we're really being honest, all jokes aside, Vega does not have the same body type as Roman Reigns does. Like he's more lanky than he is like having almost like a bodybuilder. So like you need someone who is more of an athletic build like that. I feel to play Vega than someone who's like a hulking figure. Um, Yeah, like I said, we'll see, but let us know out there in the comments if there were some characters that we did not mention that you feel like some of these actors can play, and or maybe there's some characters that we haven't even, or actors that we haven't even mentioned that uh, that you would like to see potentially get announced for this upcoming film. But that's going to do it for here at This Week in Pop Culture. Thank you guys so much for those that are watching, and those who will be watching after the fact. We do have chapters that are available for you guys, for those that watch us after the fact, so that way you can skip ahead to certain parts. But before we go, Spills, can you tell folks where they can find you?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at trulystill on Instagram.com. And you can also find me celebrating that LeBron is the greatest of all time because he got all of the all NBA selections. He's got the most of all time. And no one's ever going to catch him because who's going to be all NBA for 20 straight years? I'm sorry, 21 straight years, ladies and gentlemen. 21.
All right, all right. And I again want to thank Spills, a fan of the player who has lost what, six finals, and is not undefeated in the finals, but he's still my number two. No slight against him. He's still my number two, but lost quite a few finals there. And is no longer playing, is on the beach somewhere, even though we're talking about the end of the playoffs. And also, by the way, always had Steph have his number when it comes to the finals, minus one final.
No, no,
So
that's not true. Steph didn't always have his number, ladies and gentlemen. He lost.
whenever they
He
played,
lost down three
whenever they
one. Like
played,
we're
whenever
not
they
going. We're
played,
not going to do
minus
that,
one
Brandon. You
final,
can't do that, ladies and gentlemen. Do you
minus
see
one
that?
final.
Minus, like, when we won the most games in NBA history. Minus that one time that we had the most best team ever. We had
No
to go out
doubt,
and get Kevin
no
Durant
doubt,
because
no
you're
doubt,
better than the best team
no
ever.
doubt. No doubt. But did you win more against
It
Steph, or
ain't a
did Steph
thing.
win more against Braun? I just want to know. I just want
It's
to
a
hear it from you.
push. It's a
I just want to
push.
hear it from you.
It's a push. It's a push, ladies and gentlemen.
But you can find me at Brandon Choi, ENT on X, and Brandon Choi _ ENT on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be safe out there, and see y'all soon, y'all.
Don't
Peace.
eat too many glizzies, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Memorial Day to you
Happy
all.
Memorial Day.